School administrators react after a shooting in a Lumberton High School parking lot.
And police in Idaho were trying to discourage unfounded rumors after the murder of 4 college students.
The UNCP community reacts with an abundance of generosity to a call for assistance.
And Santa Claus has put out a call for assistance too. He needs a new kidney.
We'll tell you what we mean on Carolina News Today.
The Lumberton Police Department is asking for the public's assistance in their investigation into a shooting on Lumberton High School grounds last Wednesday night that left a woman seriously injured. After the junior high football championship game around 8 p.m., shots rang out in the stadium parking lot. Inside, the trophy presentation was still going on. Bystanders reported multiple gunshots and described a suspect dressed in black. Anyone who may have witnessed something that could be related to the shooting and anyone who has video footage that could help in the case is asked to contact the Lumberton Police Department at 910-671-3170. A 41-year-old woman had to be life-flighted to a hospital and is now in critical but stable condition.
Robeson County School Superintendent Dr. Freddie Williamson issued a statement Thursday morning condemning the crime and saying, "We are not going to give in to evil." The press release said they will soon begin leasing extra lighting for campuses, especially in the parking lots at middle and high schools. There are already security checks at entrances and a police presence at games. Williamson said proper safety protocols were followed by staff during the incident. Extra support professionals were made available for students and staff at St. Paul's Middle School and Lumberton Junior High the next day.
Police in Moscow, Idaho say they've received more than 600 tips in relation to the murder of 4 college students last week. But they're also asking the public not to rely on rumors and speculations that are going around as the investigation continues. Here's that report from Peter Choi of TV station KXLY.
This incident has shaken our community, has continued to shake our community.
Early last Sunday, 4 students from University of Idaho were stabbed to death in off-campus housing.
Local businesses were canvassed in an effort to see if any fixed blade type knives may have recently been purchased. And currently, there are no suspects in custody, and we have not located a weapon.
Moscow police say the first 911 call came from the roommate's phone, but they still won't say who placed that call. The police say they don't believe the 911 caller is the killer. Detectives say Kaylee and Madison called the man multiple times before the murder. However, they don't believe the man they called early Sunday is a suspect. The police didn't say how the killing happened while 2 other roommates were sleeping at their apartment. And Moscow police also said there were other friends at the home that morning but didn't specify when.
We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime. The 2 surviving roommates, a male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie.
Captain Lenya also talks about the online rumors.
Stop with any kind of rumors and just seek official information that comes out of the Moscow Police Department. Anything that we have that we can share from a law enforcement perspective, we will be sharing just as soon as we can.
The police say they searched 3 dumpsters on the King Road. They say they did not find any noteworthy evidence. The police says they have received more than 600 tips and conducted 90 interviews.
At UNCP, the Student Government Association is planning a safety walk on campus next semester. They'll walk the grounds with campus police at night to point out areas where students have complained about lack of adequate lighting and other safety concerns. According to President Talia Daniels, they'll have the event during SGA week in February.
A clothing drive in search of business attire for students has collected 260 pounds of clothing, which will be donated to UNCP's professional clothing closet. That's like a thrift store located at the Care Center on Magnolia Drive, but it's free. The clothing was collected by the UNCP chapter of Enactus, formerly known as Students in Free Enterprise. Drop boxes have been placed around campus such as the library, Student Center, and Thomas Hall. The chapter president says she was blown away by the response.
The response has been great. Even like outsiders, like there was a previous professor who worked here. She gathered a lot of stuff in her closet. Some are like brand new suits, and she came and donated it on her own free time. So it's been a great amount of support from everyone. At one point, I saw that the library was the box was breaking. We had to get a new box for the one from the library. And then there was some days where like the business building didn't have any, and then later throughout the week it was just packed. So I think it just depended on the day, but they were all equally able to get enough items.
Chancellor Cummings is in Germany this week, meeting with a friend of the university who's donating her memorabilia of late world-renowned painter Marc Chagall. Cummings sent a pre-recorded video message to the staff holiday party on Saturday to explain his absence. The Chancellor, a couple of art department faculty, and students are touring some Chagall exhibits with donor Vivian Jacobson, who is an expert on Chagall and worked on the artist's behalf in the last 11 years of his life when she lived in Chicago.
In Colorado Springs, patrons of Club Q say they are mourning not only those killed in Saturday night's shooting, but also the loss of a safe space. 5 people are dead and 25 were wounded in the mayhem at the nightclub, which started when a gunman opened fire. Witnesses say the venue was transformed into a scene of terror.
This is our home, this is our space.
For a lot of people like myself, we don't have families, so LGBT people really need somewhere that is a safe space, and Club Q gave that to us.
A safe space. Those words come up a lot when patrons describe Club Q in Colorado Springs. But a deadly shooting shattered that feeling of security in the final minutes of Saturday night. Police say the suspect was firing just before midnight yesterday. That was the start of the Transgender Day of Remembrance.
The shots started to ring, and everybody started to scream and swarm out.
It was so scary. I heard shots, broken glass, bodies.
It was always good energy. It was never bad energy, and it just sucks that we'll never be able to have that ever again.
Officials say at least 2 heroes confronted and subdued the gunman. The mayor says they grabbed the suspect's handgun and hit him with it.
It could have been much worse but for these heroic actors.
At a vigil yesterday, some focused on trying to regain that sense of a safe space.
We're going to make sure that we are bringing change for our community and raising voices for our community.
Not letting fear win. I know that my friends that we lost wouldn't want that.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
As lawmakers nationwide continue to consider the pros and cons of legalizing marijuana for recreational use, a new report says that legalized marijuana usage is linked to increases in drinking alcohol. A study by the CDC looked at data for 4 million people who reported on the usage before and after legalization in their state. There was about a 1% rise in alcohol use among adults in those states. This slight increase was more prevalent in young adults and white males who did not attend college. The good news, researchers say, is that cannabis legalization has been associated with decreases in prescribing opioids, reductions in opioid-related ER visits, and it does not appear to increase the use of other substances.
A popular North Carolina Santa Claus has a special request on his Christmas gift list. He's looking for a life-saving kidney transplant. WBTV's Liliana Pearson has the story.
I have some really big things on my Christmas list this year, so I've spent months making sure that I'm going to end up on the good list. That means it's time to get to work. Dear Santa.
Dear Santa.
Dear Santa.
This year for Christmas?
This year for Christmas, I would like $1 million.
Santa has been working all year to make our wishes come true.
I would like everybody to be healthy and happy.
But for the first time,
go vacation in Aruba.
Santa has a wish all his own.
I need to get a kidney transplant.
Not many people know this, but Santa has had 2 open heart surgeries in his life, and he can't overdo it on the Christmas candy because he lives with diabetes.
This is what I love doing.
But failing kidneys means that he would have to go on dialysis, which would impact his ability to make sure Christmas is as magical as ever.
Even if I don't find one for me, they'll find it for somebody else.
Santa is asking us this.
That's my wish.
Consider being a living donor. There are about 92,000 people waiting for a kidney transplant, according to the American Kidney Foundation. We could save Christmas simply by signing up.
And that's the main thing, is to help somebody.
From Santa's Workshop, I'm Liliana Pearson, WBTV, on your side.
Potential donors can visit the website of the National Kidney Foundation for more information on being evaluated or visit organdonor.gov.
The state's Upper Mountain Research Station in Laurel Springs hosted a groundbreaking ceremony on Friday for a Christmas tree improvement center. North Carolina is aiming to be the undisputed best source for the world's most genetically superior Fraser fir trees used for the holidays. A $383,000 grant from the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund Commission is making the Christmas Tree Improvement Center possible. The new center will host a seed bank where the industry can find seeds with refined genetics to produce trees with the traits preferred by growers and customers. Upper Mountain Superintendent Tracy Taylor says the center is the next big step after decades of research on the state's Fraser fir trees.
Folks interested in the Christmas spirit braved the cold on Sunday in Laurinburg for the annual Christmas on Main festival. Yes, it happened on Main Street with food and craft vendors, dancers, and other performers. There's also a synthetic ice skating rink that has been set up available throughout the holiday season. Attractions Sunday included horse-drawn trolley rides and photos with the Grinch. Food trucks and local honey could be sampled throughout the day. The event is in collaboration between the City of Laurinburg and the Scotland County Chamber of Commerce. If you live on campus and you know the Office of Housing and Residence Life tried to show their appreciation for you last week with a big event to cap off the fall semester, I attended this carnival extravaganza. A team of housing staff and resident advisors have worked for weeks to show just how much they appreciate the residents who choose to live here on campus. Located on the Student Center lawn, pizza, popcorn, and cotton candy were available to all. After you swiped in, you were automatically entered to win prizes, including priority selection for fall 2022 housing.
We're going to be able to give the residents something fun midweek to do to feel that appreciation, because us as RAs wouldn't be here without them.
In the past, it was an event that was for 1 week, but due to some changes, we decided to make it one night and to just give them as much as we possibly could today.
For Carolina News Today, I'm Andrew Thrift. Coming up, there's big news in the fight against type 1 diabetes.
And a North Carolina woman celebrates a huge milestone. She turned 105 years old.
Those stories and more after this message.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm missing this.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
A new therapy to delay the onset of type 1 diabetes has been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. It's an antibody treatment they hope will slow down the onset of the disease. CNN's Mandy Gaither filed this report.
It's being called an historic moment for those suffering from type 1 diabetes. The first ever therapy to delay the disease is now FDA approved for patients.
We've never had any treatment to do that, despite testing many different things that have all not worked.
Type 1 diabetes is a genetic disease where a person's pancreas doesn't make insulin or won't make enough. The new monoclonal antibody will be marketed under the brand name Zeal. It comes in a single 14-day dose of infusions that each last 30 to 60 minutes.
On average, the delay of development of type 1 was 2 years, but there were those that went longer than that. And as we get more and more data, this may prevent the development even longer than 2 years, which is really exciting.
The therapy is thought to work by turning down the body's misdirected attack on its own insulin-producing cells. Protecting those cells may buy patients more time before they become dependent on insulin to manage their condition.
Imagine, a 9-year-old kid with diabetes that has to have their finger pricked multiple times a day and receive multiple insulin injections. Sometimes their parents chasing them around to do this. And now think of not having to do that for 2 whole years.
And this therapy is thought to be just the beginning in the fight against type 1 diabetes.
A North Carolina woman had her very first birthday party on Friday, and that might not sound like news, but the fact that she just turned 105 years old should stand out. This Cherville native says she was always too busy caring for her younger siblings growing up to have had a proper birthday party of her own. She's the oldest person living in both Gaston and Lincoln counties. WBTV's Nikki Hauser visited her senior living community.
Inside this senior living community in Cherville, if you couldn't tell by all the well wishes, it's a special day for a very special woman.
105 years old.
You see, Lorene Summy is popular around here.
Be coming to do your hair. Yeah, I know it.
And on Friday, she became somewhat of a celebrity. While she celebrates almost 105 years of life, all of them right here in Cherryville, North Carolina, she's being celebrated all over the country and the world. Each letter that lines the halls of Somerset Court Senior Living Space.
Yesterday we received Wisconsin. Yes.
All 1,200, at least one from every state, sends a very happy birthday to Lorene. And that was just the beginning.
You want to go see a hoedown?
She was everything you see here. She's a loving woman.
But it wasn't just the party or a dedication from the mayor of her city or even the pony that paid a visit. No, it was Lorene's close friends that made her the happiest.
So glad to see you. Thank you.
The Lighthouse for the Visually Impaired and Blind is a nonprofit in Florida that's celebrating its 39th anniversary. Their mission is to educate and employ the state's blind and visually impaired. Reporter Eric Waxler of WFTS tells us blind workers learn skills to join the workforce.
We're in a chair there. At the end of each bay, I think this product is gone. We don't have any of it, but there's braille on the end of near each post on either side of it.
Scott Wilson is blind, but does have some light perception.
That's why I wear the sunglasses, because the light bothers my eyes.
But he still manages to work in this warehouse, lifting boxes and processing orders for supplies that go to government agencies around Florida.
Where it gets tricky is when there's a lot of boxes or clutter around. You know, you got to use your cane and feel around, and pretty much once you know where you're at, it moves right along.
This warehouse is part of the Lighthouse for the Visually Impaired and Blind in Newport Richey. It brings in revenue for the organization, but is also a training ground.
There's a huge unemployment rate with the folks who are visually impaired or blind, so we really try to give them those skills that they can be employable and let employers know that they are perfectly capable of performing tasks every day.
Marlis Newhouse works here too.
I've had macular degeneration most of my life.
Yeah. She uses this magnifier to read order forms.
So I'll tell Scott the number, and he'll go down and feel the braille, and then I'll tell him how many we need.
They can do almost anything as long as you're not asking them to drive. It does so much for their self-esteem. Yes, it's great for their pocketbook because now they can pay their rent and they don't have to live at home, but to see them light up, they really want to work. They want to be part of society. They want to be good citizens.
Not only does Scott work, but he trains others to be able to do the same. He says there are many opportunities to work from home for those who can learn to use technology.
They are incredible employees, hardworking, loyal, and I couldn't ask for better staff.
Cats are known for being aloof and independent, but a new study suggests cats aren't ignoring their owners. Their reactions are just very subtle. French researchers played recordings of different types of speech by different types of people to cats. When they studied video of the experiments, they realized cats had subtle reactions to their owners. Cats would move an ear, turn their heads, or freeze what they were doing. Cats reacted more to their owners when they used a high-pitched voice, which they're calling cat-directed speech. But the cats didn't react when it was a stranger's high-pitched voice and weren't too interested in their owner speaking normally to another person. So it appears your cat cares more about you than you realize.
Brave swimming was back in action over the weekend,
while volleyball headed into postseason play.
Cross country now takes its name quite literally.
Donovan Fant will tell you what that's about when we come back with CNT Sports.
What's up, Brave Nation? I'm Donovan Fant, and this is what's been going on with Brave Sports over the weekend. The swim team took the trip to Cary, North Carolina to compete in the two-day Pacer Invitational after finishing third on day one. The team ended up finishing third overall out of 11 schools. Junior Mario Mencia Martinez took top in honors in 3 events, including the 50-yard freestyle, the 100-yard freestyle, and the 100-yard butterfly. Junior Natalia Silvia grabbed a first-place finish in the 200-yard freestyle. The Braves will be back in the water on December 3rd when they host Salem University and Chowan in the Tri-Meet in Jones Center. On Friday, Braves volleyball traveled to Wingate to take on Augusta University in the first round of the NCAA Division II tournament. Despite 13 kill performances by senior Shannon Scrid and junior Vanya Prazul, the Braves lost a hard-fought battle against the Jaguars 3-1. The Braves had 45 kills as a team on 141 attempts for a .163 hitting percentage and added 7 blocks, 4 by senior Brianna Warren. This loss puts an end to their exciting season. Better luck next time, right? The Braves cross-country team traveled to Wingate, South Carolina to compete in the NCAA Southeast Regional Championship. On the men's side, the Braves finished 6th out of 21 teams, fueled by a quartet of runners finishing in the top 50. Senior Joshua Chepkesir finished first in the 8K to capture his 3rd Southeast Regional title. On the women's side, the Braves had 3 runners in the top 50, finishing in 8th place out of 20 teams. Sophomore Jacqueline Kosge finished 5th for the Braves. Both Chepkesir and Kosge will be traveling across the country to Seattle, Washington on December 3rd to compete in the national championship. Good luck to you both. The Soccer World Cup has officially kicked off, and the host nation Qatar got off to a very rocky start in the group stage. CNN's Amanda Davies has the story.
The Qatar 2022 World Cup is officially underway after a spectacular opening ceremony that confirmed there's definitely no energy crisis in these parts. A brilliant show of lights and lasers. Morgan Freeman brought the star power and a message of unity, respect and hope. But as soon as the football started, that hope was pretty quickly crushed for the hosts. It's fair to say 13 is Qatar's unlucky number after Ecuador's number 13, Enner Valencia, did the damage. The veteran player in his 3rd World Cup, scoring the goals that made the difference, so much so that many of the home fans didn't bother coming back for the second half. It was definitely a different atmosphere to what you'd expect at a World Cup opener. A pretty large contingent of travelling Ecuadorians did bring their usual vivid yellow chorus and were backed up, opposed by a vocal, well-organised group of Qatari fans singing their songs, dancing through their moves, much like we'd seen them practicing when we were here for a game in April, but that was in stark contrast to the majority of home fans watching on in a somewhat more stoic, moderated fashion. They did all get to watch a moment of history, Qatar's first ever match at a World Cup finals, hearing their anthem played for a first time on this stage. But sadly, they didn't get the results or the performance they were looking for. If FIFA want people to focus on the football, you have to say, you hope the performances get better than that. 1 match down, 63 to go. Amanda Davis, CNN, Qatar.
Women's basketball traveled to South Carolina on Saturday to face off against Newberry University in yet another close game. The Braves just couldn't put the finishing touches on the comeback after the Wolves took a big lead early and ended up losing 68-64. The Braves shot 36% from the floor and 28% from the three, while adding 15 points from the free throw line. They were led in scoring by Zaria Clark, who logged 19 points. The team has now fallen to 0-4, which really doesn't give credit to how close their games have been. The men's basketball team traveled to Columbus, Georgia to match up against former conference foe Columbus State University. The Braves found themselves in overtime for the second time this season and were able to edge out the Cougars 75-72. The 10th-ranked Braves made 13 three-pointers on 54% shooting to help to secure the win. The Braves also came down with 21 offensive rebounds and shot 74% from the free throw line. Men's basketball is now undefeated with 4 wins. The Lady Braves will have a chance to get back a win on board when they travel to Mount Olive tonight. The men are at home tonight at 6 p.m. against St. Augustine's University. That's all I've got. I'm Don, and I'm gone. Andrew and Victor, back to you.
Thanks, Donovan. That wraps up our semester here at Carolina News Today. I'm Victor Mays.
And I'm Andrew Thrift. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday and safe travels.